afternoon, everybody. This is Doyle at Plant-Based Dallas, and I wanted to give you a quick garden slash home tour of all of our veggies and fruits that we grow. First of all, here in the pots are things that we keep in a greenhouse over winter, and most of those are citrus, although I did have some cabbages and peppers that I wintered over with the citrus. This is a bay tree, so we have bay leaves all the time. And this is celery. Look, you can cut off the bottoms of your organic celery, plant them in dirt, and this is what happens. It's wonderful. Also some other cabbages over there. If you have never had Malabar spinach, get some seeds and grow Malabar spinach. This wintered over, but now that the sun's out, I've planted some more, but it'll be a nice vine and continuous spinach. So again, these are just citrus trees with a little bit of cruciferous thrown in when I can, and we actually had a tomato that stayed alive during the winter and even fruited. So that's the remnants. And we have our new lemon tree. It died to the roots during the apocalypse, but it has come back. All of our citrus has come back. We have a peach tree that half of it died but is still there, and we have an apricot tree, so we'll see how they do this year. But mostly we like to do this keyhole gardening, and you can look this up on the internet, how to build your own. We've built our own. They look sort of shabby, but they seem to do the job. They're about 6 feet in diameter, and you have a pie shaped, and the reason you have a pie shaped is you have a compost bin made out of really heavy duty wire that goes all the way down to the bottom. So you have about a 6 foot diameter and about a 4 foot high wall that you can construct out of anything that you might have, and we have 3 of those. I apologize, my garden's always a mess, but just bear with me. We have some peppers that I seeded from seed. We'll see how they grow. And in this keyhole, I have beets that grew over the winter, and we love eating the beet greens. It looks like we need a little bit of water today. I've got some carrots and planted some tomatoes in there, but mostly this is going to be, let's see, beets, carrots, and onions in this one. And you can see the beets coming up. That's kale that came in over the winter, and then that's another cruciferous, and arugula that's gone to seed, but we'll still eat it. And in this third keyhole, we have lots of radishes, and I'll probably plant tomatoes and tomatillas in here simultaneously, because the radishes will be gone. You see they're already ready for picking, and I also have some green sorrel. I forget the name of this, but this is great in salads. New this year, well, this is last year, I've got some beans in here, and I've got this fence, and I'm hoping that my beans are going to grow up this fence. I have both bush beans and beans that are going to grow on a vine. So we'll see how that goes. That's new. And this I planted some potatoes in, but only a few came up. So I've also planted some ginger in here to see if the ginger will work. I've never grown ginger turmeric, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Got a few onions in there. And then along here, I've got another place. Last year I grew my Christmas limas here, but I don't want to grow beans in the same spot, so I'm going to try and grow cucumbers and up this fencing right here. And in these individual things, I like to keep my herbs and different herbs. Here's red sorrel, here's some more carrots, and here's some more carrots. And new this year is this upside down hoop. We used cattle guard from Tractor Supply. That is 2 long panels that we put together and bent over. They're like 15 feet by maybe 6 feet, and we hooked them together here in the middle, as you can see. What I'm going to grow in this is cantaloupe. I've got cantaloupe planted at the base of it. They're very small right now, but I'm hoping that by keeping them up, that I will keep the animals away. So this is an experiment. I saw someone who had it in their front yard, and the cantaloupe's hanging everywhere, and the animals never touched it, so we'll see how that goes. In the rest of the garden, I have onions and strawberries here and there. Planted in the shade, I have some more celery that I planted from organic store-bought celery, so we'll see how those go. planted it a little bit in the shade because when these hot summers come, they really can't handle the hot summer. And in this keyhole, I've got lots of greens. I've got tatsoi, I've got spinach, I've got, can't think of the name of this one right now, but it's another green that does well. I've got a few carrots thrown in and lots of cilantro that I need to quickly cut back, and I jar up that. When I come out here and pick my greens, I pick all sorts of different greens, cut them up, put them in the jar. I mix all the greens together. I don't try and keep them separately. So I'll come out here and grab cruciferous, I'll come out here and grab the softer spinach, the Malabar spinach. I have some mustard greens in here. All of this I will put in the same jar. Sometimes I'll even cut up some cilantro or carrot greens. Okay, we're gonna go to another part of the garden. Hold on 1 minute. This isn't actually part of the garden, but I just looked up. This is wild violets, and these heart-shaped leaves are edible. So I'm coming out here in my yard before it gets mowed, and I'm picking all these green, and I'm picking the flowers are very sweet, and picking them and cutting these up and putting these in jars too, because it's all edible. I hate to throw it away because we don't put any fertilizer or any chemicals on our yard, so that's free food. And then of course you see the dandelions. I pick the dandelions too and make dandelion tea. Just put it in hot water and let it steep. All right, we're gonna come out here to the alley. 1 minute. Here's one last picture of our backyard garden area. Again, it's not pretty, but it's very functional and very prolific. Okay, now here we're out in our alley, and this is what our alley garden. I've got some carrots that I've got these hoops on because we can extend our garden in the fall through the winter by covering this up with landscaping cloth. And if I need to, I can use shade cloth on some of the vegetables if I need to for the summer. But we've got carrots that were there all winter. I've put some lemon squash in there, so we'll see how that goes. Remainder of Brussels sprouts and cruciferous. Let's see if those last. Another celery. And I've got some peas. It's a little late for the peas, but I'm hoping that we'll still have a little bit of cooler weather so I can get a little bit of those. Those have not fruited yet. I've got some arugula that's gone to seed, so I'll just collect the seeds from that. A few tomato plants planted. This is my first year in planting goldenberry. I cannot wait. That came from seeds, so it's really small. Let's see. Over here I have some different butternut squashes. I've got them some cages around them so they can grow up in a safe space and grow vertical. Love the butternut squash. Over here's an asparagus bed that's pretty slim right now, so I've put in some tomatoes, some more squash, another different kind of squash, winter squash. I love the winter squash because it grows all summer and then it lasts all winter for months and months. Still more cruciferous from the winter, and got a few tomato plants planted. Some more different kind of peas that I hope will fruit before it gets too hot. And still more cruciferous. Remember, cruciferous do not grow well next to tomatoes because they both attract the same pest. So I'm going to have to move any of my cabbages away from my tomatoes. I'm trying a new bean here. This is a climbing bean. You see I've set up this little fencing for it. It's called the Blah Hill Day, and it's a purple green bean, and it looks beautiful in the seed package. So we'll see how that goes. More cilantro, and you know, if you cut the cilantro down back to the base, it will grow back and grow anew. And we eat all of this. I don't eat these really thick stems, but I do eat these thinner stems. I just cut them up all real tiny and put all the cilantro in a jar, and it will last for a good week. We've got plenty of leeks and garlic. You know, that stuff multiplies because in its second year it will produce a round seed ball head, and that seed ball is filled with thousands of seeds. So once you start growing leeks or garlic or onions, you really have them for a lifetime. This is my cilantro that is way too big. I just have so much of the cilantro that I cannot possibly eat it all. And here is some purple Chinese long beans. You've seen videos on that. The bean pods are like 1.5 feet long. They are the most beautiful purple, and that's a very prolific, easy bean to grow, but you've got to have height because it grows tall, tall, tall. Again, leftover winter cruciferous kale. And that is my alley garden. And people ask, well, gosh, aren't you afraid people are going to come steal it? You know what? If someone is stealing my vegetables, they must really need it. I have plenty to share, and I'm not going to get all worried about that. And we share it with the animals as well. I had an acorn squash in here, but I see it no longer, so I guess it died. I'll have to replant that. Okay, that's the alley garden. Let's go to the next spot. 1 minute. We are on the west side of my house, and this is my blackberry patch. Oh, how we love the blackberries. Our grandkids love to come pick it, and it requires a lot of pruning. I have 2 rows, and then I have something on top for it to grow, but I like to keep this inside path free and clear. I need to come in and work on it so that we can walk in here and harvest things. See how this one has already grown? I need to fix this. It's thorny. I got thorny blackberry bushes, because I didn't know, but I don't want to take them all out just because they have thorns, so we have to work with that. And they will produce literally almost all summer. So that's our blackberry patch. And then we come to the front yard. Now, you guys, I know this is janky, but I don't have a normal front yard. I've got some beans planted right there to go up a tripod. Got some tomato plants, and they're just starting out. More tomato plants. This is garlic, my little garlic bed, and see how it's reseeded? It's dropped its seeds, and that's tons and tons of garlic. So I can either wait till it's a big garlic pot, or I can pick it now, and it's still very flavorful. Not sure, that might be some of my Christmas lima beans. Again, got to have the height for it to grow up. See that? And I just tie things together. More tomatoes. I've got some, that's actually a pumpkin. We'll see if that works. Area for more Christmas limas. They have not come up yet. Another celery. This is some different cucumbers. And you know, I pick up people's trash, you guys. Someone was throwing away this piece of black decorative something, and I picked it up thinking, oh, I can have a vegetable grow up that works. More winter squash there in the back. Those poles I have are just to show me that there's a plant there and not to step on it. That's what they are, and once the plant gets big enough, I'll remove those small sticks. And here's where I've got my Christmas lima beans planted. They have not come up yet, but see, I'm gonna hopefully they'll grow up that teepee that I put. And here's my peppers in front of Mary. She's gonna give me a good pepper. I have other plants I need to plant, but right now, those are all different kinds of pepper plants, different stages. So that's the west side of the house. And then in pots on the front, I have different, more cilantro. I've got some fenugreek that I'm growing for the first time. I have some parsley and leftover kale, and there's some other things coming up. I don't really remember what I put in there. This is garlic chives. Oh my God, they multiply like crazy. So I'm gonna have to dig some of those up and just put them in the freezer, constantly digging up the garlic chives. Be careful where you put those because they multiply. And more tomato plants. Here's again some leeks. And like I said, you remember, I've got leeks and garlic mixed in there. There's a bunch of cilantro there in the back. And here is my goji berry. Goji berry is a wonderful thing to have. It will start fruiting, and it will fruit all summer. But it's sticky, it's got thorns, and it grows in long, long trails. So this year I cut it back, and I'm gonna try and keep it contained in one area. Okay, I've got 3 or 4 more tomato plants, you'll see there. And then this is just flowers and sort of a shaded area right now. I also have out front a nice little peach tree, but I think this latest freeze may have killed all the blossoms and peaches, so I don't think we're going to get any peaches from this tree here this year, sadly. Here's our Champanelle grapevine, and I've got videos on that. Requires a lot of pruning. You got to prune it back like 90% every year, and then during the season you've got to keep it pruned because it grows profusely. And if you let all the greens grow, it takes away from the growth of the fruit, and we get tons of grapes. In fact, look, Here's the beginnings of some grapes right there. Y'all, can you believe this? In Dallas, Texas, I can grow grapes. This is unbelievable. Now, Chapinel has seeds, so I didn't research that, but the flavor of them is delicious. So there you have it. Also a grapevine in the front yard. And like I said, it's not pretty, but you know what? It's gonna produce from us. And I have an apple tree over here that I've pruned up. I'm not sure if it made it through the freeze, but we'll give it a few weeks and see if it's got any buds on. Oh, I see green. Praise God. It's not dead. I don't know if I'll get any apples off it, but we did get a few apples for the first time last year, so perhaps we'll get some this year as well. Alrighty, that's really it. I just want to tell all of you all that just start planting something. Don't worry about getting all worked up. Oh wait, I want to show you something over here. This is really fun. So I used to have spearmint growing back here in this bed, but spearmint grows everywhere. So I would weed it and throw it out in the grass, and now, lo and behold, I have spearmint growing in my grass. And you take a bite of this leaf and literally, it tastes like spearmint, Wrigley's spearmint chewing gum. I'm not kidding. So whenever I leave the house, I'll grab a leaf and chew it up and got fresh breath. It's really great. And I've taught all the grandkids how to find the spearmint and taste that. Okay, so let's go back to gardening again. You start small. Just start, if you've got an area in your yard that gets sun, plant some plants in it. Plant a tomato bush or plant a pepper plant. Just start somewhere. You don't have to worry about, okay, I need to build a huge bed and I need to do all this. Just start small. This is the east side of my house, and we've got some blackberries over here, but east side is not good. The best place for a garden is something that gets southern exposure, because it gets the exposure from the entire day. Look, here's more of that wild violet, those heart-shaped leaves. You know what? You probably have, I'm going to show you some edibles that you probably have in your own yard. So first of all, you know what dandelions look like, and they have these kind of leaves that are pointy and have 3, 4, or 5 little sections of leaves. Dandelion leaves are edible, and as are the flowers. Wild violets with the heart-shaped leaves and the purple flowers, that's edible. And since we don't spray our yard and don't have any pets, this is henbit. You will recognize the henbit. It's got little purple flowers. I cut this and put it in with our greens too. Let me see if I can find some of the henbit that has a purple flower, because I know you'll recognize that. Here in my yard is lemon balm that a seed blew over here. And lemon balm tea is great. If you've ever tasted lemon balm, oh my gosh, just put a piece of it in your mouth. It goes great in teas, or it makes a great tea. You just take up a bunch of this, put it in hot water, and let it sit, and you've got a delicious tasting tea. Add that and spearmint. So good. Why ever drink plain water when you have all these wonderful herbs to use? Okay, one other thing that I saw the other day. Here it is. Arugula. No, this is watercress. I planted watercress. I'm going to pick that because this is really high potent, huge on antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, is watercress. And this likes it in really wet spots, and it reseeds itself. I used to have it in one of these. Oh, there I do. I see it's got a plant right there growing. This is called watercress, and you can look it up and see how good it is in antioxidants. But got some of that, and I've got peppermint. That is more lemon balm, and then that's peppermint over there. You know, you got to contain your mint family. Anything in the mint family spreads like wildfire, so be sure and keep it contained in something. Just warning you, otherwise you're going to have to be weeding it out all the time. All right, I got all my watercress there. I can go add that to my greens jar. Alrighty, so there's the Doyle garden, and thanks to a wonderful husband who helps me. Takes a lot of work, and we collect bags of leaves, and we spread bags of leaves all over it. See, that's bare dirt. I need to get out here and spread a bunch more leaves. And the keyhole gardens require adding mulch and adding organic compost and leaves to them, because during the summer, that compost pile in the middle of it, that compost bin, will literally sink down 8 to 10 inches just in one hot day. So if I were to fill, this is sort of in the shade, so this keyhole garden gets vegetables that that can tolerate a little bit of shade. The other two are in full sun. But if this is filled up to here, by the end of the day, that will all be composted and will drop about 8 inches. It is unbelievable. And if you were to stick your hand down in the middle of that during the heat of the summer, you'd get a 3rd-degree burn. There is so much chemical reactions going on down there in that compost bin, and working and breaking down food pieces. And I don't put, the only thing that's in the compost bin are vegetable and fruit peels. We eat a lot of the stuff. We eat a lot of the peels of different things, but we put twigs and leaves and vegetable and fruit. No dairy, no meat, nothing of that kind ever is in our compost bins, because that attracts, well, A, we don't eat that stuff, and B, it attracts animals galore. So there you have it. Doyle household, happy to give you any gardening, or if you have any questions anytime, you know to contact us. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.